These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording Thursday, October 5th, in the midst of Celtics training camp. And we're doing, I guess, a little training camp series. We're going over some videos, some of the top storylines we think are interesting that maybe aren't being talked about a ton in general, or that we haven't had the time to talk about on the pod, or even if we have mentioned it, just expanding upon it a little bit with some lovely footage from CLNS in the background, because we love our friends at CLNS and we appreciate them for taking these videos from practice. So Jrue Holiday had his introductory press conference the other day for the Celtics. And he talked a lot about, being in Boston, wanting to be in Boston, excited for the season, all that stuff. But he also shared some tidbits about practicing with Jaylen Brown. Also shared, other people on the panel of the press conference, like Pags and Wick and Brad Stevens, also talked about it. And some of the quotes include, I think this was Pagliuca saying, "We were marveling at the play where I don't think we ever seen Jaylen Brown be stopped from going to the hoop in practice. He just went right into the D, and that was it. One of those things, I was really strong." And then Jrue goes, "I appreciate him saying that." Jrue also said, talking about competing against Jaylen in practice. I'm trying to find the exact quote here. But he, basically said, he knows all my moves. I know all his moves, and we're going at it in practice, like every day. Like, he's a strong dude, and I am also a strong dude. He goes, even though I know I'm strong, Jaylen might be stronger, which is crazy to say as a guard. But I think that competitive nature in practice and training camp throughout the year, competing against each other like that, knowing that I know his tendencies, he knows mine, to be able to go at each other like that consistently, it just makes us better. So it sounds like Jrue Holiday and Jaylen Brown have been going at it in practice a little bit so far, which makes sense. I mean, they're probably the two strongest guards on the team.
They should arm wrestle.
I would say there might be the two strongest guys on the team in general, but Jason Tatum and Al Horford might get a little angry at that. Lamar Stevens too, maybe they've got.
Yeah, I was thinking about be like,
but
Lamar Stevens.
Yeah, they've been going at it, and it makes sense. It's a competitive, scene. That's not the right word, but it's been a competitive practice setting so far.
They're fiery.
Bob Pierce talk about it, and they're excited.
Skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to build off of who else would they be competing against, right? Jrue Holiday is the perfect sparring partner for Jaylen Brown in a practice setting, especially for those concerned about his ability to control the ball. If you're having Jrue Holiday defend him and work on him every single day in practice, he has no choice but to get better. Jrue Holiday is, by all accounts, one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. If you're worried about Jaylen Brown not being comfortable with the ball, perfect guy to push him to his limits, and also a perfect guy to help him improve with his abilities with the basketball on his own accord. I mean, Jrue Holiday is somebody that all of us Celtics fans expect to make an impact on the offense because he can be another ball handler, somebody else you can trust to make the right decision and also not lose the ball or turn it over. So I'm very eager to see if we see any improvement from Jaylen here, because of all of the work he's going to have to do with Jrue Holiday and deal with him in practice every day. Now, you could be like, well, yeah, he had Smart in practice every day last season, and that's true. So it's a double-edged sword. Maybe I'm just a moron, and I'm just being like, listen, we should just be so hyped about everything. But I hope that this does spur some growth with Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, definitely. And funnily enough, OG viewer of the program, It's Gear, also his name's PJ. We talk on Twitter every once in a while. He messaged me. He said, "This is hella random, but I wonder how the Bucks told Jrue to defend Jaylen in terms of forcing him to go left. Wonder if Jrue will bring it up to Jaylen to help him." And I said, "Oh, you probably heard something like that during the press conference." He goes, "No, I'm in a lecture. Did he talk about it?" So this is just a random brainchild of It's Gear. And I think that's like a cool niche point to think about. Like, everyone's talking about, oh, Jaylen can't go left, all this stuff. Like, is that something that other teams are coaching the Bucks to do?
I think so.
And can Jrue help Jaylen get out of that issue? Like, can Jrue be like, Jaylen, they're telling you to go left, this is what you do, this is what defenders are doing? And I think that's an underrated aspect of bringing in a new guy to the team, especially somebody who was on your biggest rival. And that's not something you get often, right? Like, let's say the Celtics let's say they signed Javon Carter, right, who was on the Bucks last year. That would help. Yeah, but he's not actively guarding Jaylen Brown as much as Jrue Holiday. And you rarely get to have a guy who actively guarded your best players join your team in the summer. And Porzingis is an okay example, but he's not like the one guarding Jaylen. Like Jrue is. I'll look it up right now. I wonder how many minutes Jrue Holiday spent on Jason Tatum throughout the course of this regular season. But past
Tatum
that,
or Brown?
more importantly, Brown. Sorry, I'm not even gonna look at the season because I want to look at how often Jrue Holiday guarded Jaylen Brown in the 2022 playoffs. That 7-game series. I wonder how often Jrue Holiday was guarding Jaylen Brown. Let's see who was Jaylen Brown's primary defender.
I'll add while you look.
Yeah.
You mentioned PJ being like, how do teams guard Jaylen? How do they force him left? Well, Caleb Martin went on whose podcast right after the Celtics got bounced from the conference finals. And he was on the Lebitard show, I believe. And he talked about how obviously easy it is to make Jaylen go left. And that's the game plan. And everybody knows that. So to your point, to PJ's point, teams certainly were doing that. And Jrue Holiday almost like undoubtedly had those instructions when he was on the Bucks. I mean, Budenholzer was the coach, so there is a chance like a lot of square peg, round hole from Budenholzer. But you'd have to imagine it's no secret that teams were trying to do that. And Milwaukee would have been no different.
New FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube at YouTube TV.
You want to guess how many minutes in that 7-game series Jrue Holiday spent on Jaylen Brown?
Let's see. 48 minutes a game times 7. 7 times 4 is 28, 280. Plus another 4 is... So it's almost 300 minutes. Sure. I will guess probably 140 something.
Whoa,
way more?
No. Way less. You're overthinking how often individual players guard on individual players. He spent 48 minutes and 60 seconds on Jaylen Brown. I don't know why it just says 60 seconds. A whole game. Second most, under 15 minutes. He was by far the Bucks' primary defender on Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown shot all right. He shot 42% from the field, 36% from 3, which is 14 of 33 and 8 of 22. And then this past season, during the regular season, Jrue Holiday was once again, or he was actually the secondary defender on Jaylen. Obviously, smaller sample size. Giannis spent just under 5 minutes on him. Jrue spent just under 4 minutes on him. But you're talking about a guy who has tons of experience guarding Jaylen Brown. There is nobody better to learn from on how to improve than somebody who has actively guarded you for, like you said, an entire game across an entire series. So I think Jrue will be great for Jaylen. I think Jaylen will be great for Jrue in the sense that, like, as much as Jrue Holiday is an amazing defender already, he doesn't need to get better on defense. Who was challenging him in Bucks practice? Chris Middleton was probably
Chris
Middleton.
Chris Middleton, who probably doesn't get enough credit, in fairness to him.
Chris Middleton's great, but in terms of athletes, like Jaylen, he will now get to guard 2 of the best wings in the NBA every day. Like, I think it will be a great chemistry in practice. You're already first day 1, you're hearing stuff about them going at it, them competing. I think it only gets better from there. I think it'll help Jrue, obviously, but I think it will really help Jaylen. And as much as Marcus Smart was also on him, there's something to be said about he spent his whole career with Marcus. Marcus never had to guard him in an in-game setting. Jrue has so much experience with that, and I think it's going to be a huge help. So I'm excited for that, particularly.
So another thing that I quickly want to touch upon before we wrap is
we'll switch to Jaylen highlights for the last minute.
All right. The discussion around Jrue Holiday. Him arriving at this practice yesterday, having not played basketball in a week, because I don't think you're allowed to after you get traded until you pass your physicals, and Portland never really had him at the practice facility. And he came in, didn't miss a beat. He is an NBA player. That's what they're expected to do. But he's playing against other NBA players, to be fair, right? And everybody was just floored with how quickly he caught on, how dominant he was, how impactful, didn't miss a beat. The CLNS video you just had on was titled Jrue Holiday Can't Miss and Shoot Around. He was sharp as ever, ready to go, having moved to a new city right away. Great. This is so exciting if you're a Celtics fan. You're getting a guy that fits the bill of what you wanted. The Celtics lose Marcus Smart. They essentially upgrade that with a guy that does everything, can shoot threes better than Marcus, and considered widely a better defender than him. I don't know. I am not going to turn on Smart quickly, but
Yeah, I don't know.
a lot of people were pushing for Jrue Holiday that season when Marcus won Defensive Player of the Year. They wanted him to get equal respect. So,
yeah,
something to keep your eyes out for. This is such an exciting time to be a Celtics fan. You should be excited about Jrue Holiday. The team is excited about him. The team cannot stop talking about how impactful and impressive he's been already.
Definitely. I think you're going to see Jrue and Jaylen push each other in practice, and I think that's going to be an interesting storyline to watch throughout the year. So let us know what you think about Jrue and Jaylen and all that stuff in practice so far. Any opinions in the comments? Shout out at Skier. Appreciate you. Shout out CLNS. If you want to see more practice footage, go check out their channel. We appreciate them. Thank you very much. And subscribe to How About Them Celtics as well. And I'll let Sam take us out.
Hey, thank you very much for watching. You must be pumped for the Celtics to be back. They will be back Sunday. If you're watching this video and it's after Sunday, then I hope you enjoyed the game yesterday or whenever it may be. But subscribe to the channel. We're going to be pumping out content here as we gear up for the season. So you don't want to miss any of it. Hit the notification bell. If you like the audio podcast, great. Follow us. Spotify and Apple. Leave 5 stars. Say something nice about the fellas. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Just the name of the podcast. You can find Jack on Twitter at JacksMoneyNBA. You can find me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.